Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we have a 2023 Jeep Grand Cherokee limited with 4x4 capabilities, and this is what we're test driving today. As you can see, I did a little bit of off-roading, so it is a little bit dirty, but you know what, this thing looks really nice. We also get automatic trunk release, and here in the back you can see just the amount of space we have, which is ridiculous, just how much space we have back here as well too. And our spare tire down here per usual. So let's talk about what powers this car. This thing is powered by a 3.6 liter V6 pushing just around 200 and I want to say 93 horsepower and 260 foot-pounds of torque, powering all four wheels. And look at how this thing just lights up, man. This thing looks really nice. And honestly, let's take this thing out for a test drive, because since it's 2023, it's still pretty new. You can still see our plastic is on there as well. Throw into the passenger seat. And over here, if we look into the back, move this up, you can see the amount of space we get. It's all nice leather back here with some heated seats down there as well too, and all cup holders. But you know what, enough with the talk, let's go on a test drive. All right, and this one is push to start. You can see our gigantic screen, a new gear shifter over here, and here we can select our modes as well. Look at the startup. Pretty nice. And let's turn down our fan. Ba-ba-boom. Okay, and now we are good to go. We're pretty much good to go at this point. Okay, so put this thing in drive. We have our Waze set up. I mean, I keep saying that Waze should sponsor me, but you know what, it is what it is. We got our AC running. This thing does not have no sunroof though, so unfortunately the limited edition does not come with a sunroof, but we do have some nice wood paneling all around here, which is a nice break from the textured plastic we usually get, and a digital gauge cluster, which is really nice. And we have baby paddle shifters. You guys might not be able to see them, but they're like super tiny, just because we have a volume and skip button on the back of the steering wheel, so we can't really have gigantic paddle shifters. And acceleration on this bad boy, you know what, I think it's better for me to show you guys how quick this thing accelerates, because this thing is really quick. You know what, if you make it to this point of the video, I want you to guess how quick this thing accelerates. 3.6 liter V6 pushing 293 horsepower and 260 foot-pounds of torque, all-wheel drive with paddle shifters. So let's see how well this thing accelerates. Yep, pretty quick though, pretty quick. Definitely not as fast as a V8 or anything like that, but still pretty decently quick. And this thing, it handles pretty well. It has like that rugged feel every Jeep naturally has as well. So if you like the rugged feel of Jeeps, like, this thing is a really good option. 2023 limited Jeep with all-wheel drive. Let's just talk about the ride quality though. This thing does have heated seats and a heated steering wheel, but no ventilated seats, so you can't really cool off your butt like that. And we're gonna put this thing into sport. Shifting is a bit more aggressive. Nice. Very nice. And the thing is, this thing is not a slouch. Even though it looks big and everything, it is a really quick car. And this person just, okay. But yeah, even though it might look like it's big, like just a regular vehicle that someone would use, like a grocery getter, this thing is really capable. The shifting is so satisfying when it lets you redline, when you're in sport mode and it lets you redline all the way to your heart's content. Like, it is a really, really satisfying vehicle to drive, actually. Steering and suspension, of course this thing does have a lot of body roll when you get into a corner really, really quick. Like, you know what, that's expected, man. It's expected. Decent gas mileage, as well as you have your eco mode, and you also have your auto stop and go to help you save some more on some gas. It just never gets old though. It really doesn't get old with the amount of acceleration this thing has. But you know what, let's talk about how this thing handles on, per se, a highway, because that's where most of us will be doing our daily commutes. We have a little bit of highway driving at least, and hopefully traffic isn't gonna be bad for us, because you know what, it is what it is. If there's bad traffic, there is bad traffic. But for example, in this corner, I am like sliding in my seat. The seats are not holding me well in spots. I mean, to be fair, they're not really sports seats. To be fair, they're not really sports seats, so I can't really complain that it's not holding me in place as I would like to. But again, when you take a corner, your entire body rolls with the seat. You are not in place, basically. You are just rolling around in your seat, essentially. That's what's happening. But you know what? This thing does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto naturally. So that is a really big plus for a lot of people. I know a lot of people want Android and Apple CarPlay. And this one is just a simple, big vehicle. Now, you know what, instead of just me casually reviewing it, let me tell you some things that I like, actually, because I try to branch away from just simply talking about, oh, I like this and this, it has A, B, C, and D. The thing about this one is that, unlike the Wrangler, this one doesn't have the death wobble, so I'm a little bit more confident in this one, in just regular city driving and high-speed highway driving, essentially. Not off-roadiness. Of course, you can, off-road a Jeep. It is a Jeep. You can go off-roading with it, but I wouldn't say it's as confident as a Wrangler. And I guess at these speeds, for example, at these speeds, I hear myself talking a little bit louder than usual, so my GoPro catches all of the words I'm saying, because it feels like a lot of noise comes through. Like, you feel connected to the road 100%, but there's a lot of noise coming through from the cabin, at least. But again, this road is not smooth, so I'm gonna cut in some slack as well. The road is not smooth, so meh, I'm cutting it some slack at the time being. But overall, it seems like a very capable SUV, and it's a large SUV too. Like, this thing is huge. With the amount of trunk space you get, this thing is pretty big, actually. So again, size, this thing is huge. We have a lot of room in the back seat and in the trunk as well too, so you can haul a lot of people and a decent amount of things. Just from the sheer size of this thing, like how much stuff it has for space. Let's go to a smoother road so I can clearly talk, because again, this thing absorbs a lot of the road, of the bumps and everything. But you know, let's turn off AC for a bit so that we can hear complete silence and ambience, or what this thing, the closest thing this thing gets to complete silence and ambience. So at least we do have blind spot monitoring as well, so that is pretty nice. And if we go to our vehicle settings, it shows the rear camera, which is actually pretty neat. I know some cars won't let you do that because, I don't know, for safety reasons or whatever, but this seems like a really handy thing when you're off-roading. And it also has off-road pages, because remember, the higher, let's go with the Durango for example. The Durango does not have off-road pages. It has performance pages because it's more of a performance SUV. This is more of a off-road-ish SUV, and we can select our terrain, our pitch and roll, our gauges, and our vehicle dynamics. And of course, we are in all-wheel drive, so everything, all four wheels are working together to work well, essentially. And if we try our cruise control, let's quickly switch over our lanes and try our cruise control and set it to 109 kilometers an hour. So it does drive itself really, really well. Okay, now setting that up, set to 116. Seems like it's doing a pretty good job. I'm not sure if it tests itself to see how well it brakes, because that is still a scary experience. Okay, and set. We will see how well this thing brakes by itself. I kind of have like a good suspicion that it probably brakes pretty well, because I've seen Mazdas brake much more smoother. I've seen Hyundai's brake much more smoother. So I'm expecting this one to probably get it on the first try and do pretty well at least. Of course, I'm not gonna put myself in a situation where I need to brake that aggressively, but my foot is covering the brake just in case. And it seems like we're still accelerating. Radar, please kick in. Radar, please kick in. And I'm not going anywhere closer than that. Seems like it was just casually going. Weird. It seems like it's a little bit like not finicky, but hard to, I want to say, pinpoint or work out eventually. Because you can work it out and set your speed, but as it has a radar, I would expect it to brake as well for you. Which I guess I am wrong. It probably doesn't do that, but hey, you learn something new every day. But overall, this is a decent vehicle. It's exciting enough, it's quick enough, it's really practical as well too. And it's a limited Jeep, man. It's also limited as well. So would I buy it? Yes, and actually yes, I would buy this. If the situation ever arises where I would need to buy a Jeep, I'm getting this 110%. 110% of the time, easily I'll get this one most of the time. Just because of how much practicality it is, and the fact that it's not a Wrangler with that little death wobble going on. So yep, 110% would drive something like this. Just because it's nice, and it's practical as well too. With decent fuel economy for a V6, as long as you don't drive as I do, where you're stepping on it every 30 seconds, you should be okay. You should really be okay though. But anyway, this has been Morty with a quick, simple talk together. I don't want to say it's a review, because I don't like just simply hopping into a car and saying I have to review it. I want to talk about the vehicle and how it makes me feel. This one brings satisfaction. Just wish the paddle shifters were a little bit bigger, because I either put bigger paddle shifters or don't put them in at all. But hey, that's like the only little nitpicking I'm doing on this one. Anyway guys, take it easy and peace.